In this video, you will learn how to apply inequalities in the context of solving word problems. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through 3 different word problems, and each of which is a little bit different. And with word problems, there's not really one set way or one set type of question that you will be asked. But hopefully by the end of this video, you'll see 3 different types of problems, and hopefully you'll get the thought processes that you can use for other types of problems. So the first word problem, we are told to find all sets of 3 consecutive even integers whose sum is between 25 and 45. So to begin, I want to establish my variables. And that should be the first thing you do for any word problem. Figure out what are you trying to find. So here what we're trying to find is sets of 3 consecutive even integers. Alright, so we have 3 numbers. So the first number we can let be represented by the letter x. So if the first number is x, the next number is going to be the next even number. So if this one is x, the next even number would be 2 more than this, which would be x plus 2. And then the third number is 2 more than the second number. That's the next even number. So x plus 2 would give me x plus 4. So these are my 3 consecutive even numbers. Alright, so from here I can set up an inequality. So it says their sum is between 25 and 45. This word sum means addition. So what I'm doing is I'm adding x plus x plus 2 plus x plus 4. Alright, so that sum, I can actually simplify this a little bit. Right, x plus 2 plus x plus 4. We would have x plus x plus x, that gives me 3 x's. And then 2 plus 4 would give me 6. Alright, so this here is the sum, 3x plus 6. Now it says the sum is between 25 and 45. If it's between 25 and 45, that means it must be bigger than 25, and it must be smaller than 45. Alright, that's what between means. So with this, I have 2 inequalities, and I can solve. So both of these, the steps will be the same. So I can begin by doing reverse order of operations. So we see a 3 being multiplied and a 6 being added. Since I work in reverse when I solve inequalities, I will begin with the addition, and I move that over by subtracting. So I subtract 6 over. And then same thing over here, subtract 6 over. So when I do that, I'm going to have 3x is greater than 25 minus 6 is 19. Then over here, when I subtracted 6, I get 3x is less than, that's going to be 39. Alright, and then from here, for both of them, I have 3 times x. So to get rid of the 3, I need to divide. I divide both sides of both inequalities by 3. So for the first one, I have x is greater than 19 over 3 is 6 and 1/3. Over here, when I divide, I get x is less than 39 over 3 is 13. So I've determined that x needs to be bigger than 6 and 1/3 and smaller than 13. Alright, so what numbers would fit that description? Well, keep in mind, we are looking at consecutive even numbers. So what even numbers fall between this range? So bigger than 6 and 1/3, 7 is the next number, but it's not even. After 7 is 8, so x could be 8, x could be 10, or x could be 12. Right? Anything bigger than 12, any even number is going to be 14 or above, which is bigger than 13. And any number smaller than 8 would be 6 or below, which does not fit within the range. Alright, so these are my 3 possibilities. Alright, now be careful, this is 3 separate answers. Alright, so if x is 8, then the next number is 8 plus 2, which is 10. The next number is 8 plus 4, which is 12. So this is one set of possibilities, and that is if x is 8. All right, well, if x is 10, then we start at 10, right? The first number is 10. Number 2 is 10 plus 2, which is 12. And number 3 is 10 plus 4, which is 14. So my second possibility is 10, 12, and 14. Then my third possibility is if the first number is 12. If the first number is 12, then number 2 is 12 plus 2, which is 14. And number 3 is 12 plus 4, which is 16. So my other possibility would be 12, 14, and 16. And if I wanted, I could double check to see if the sum is between 25 and 45. If I do 8 plus 10 plus 12, I get 30, which would be between. 10 plus 12 plus 14 would be 36, which would also be between. And then 12 plus 14 plus 16 would be 42, which is also between 25 and 45. So these three sets of numbers do work, which means this is the correct answer. Example 2 is in the context of geometry. Here we have a rectangular picture. It has a width that is 5 inches less than 3 times the length. The perimeter is at least 26 inches. Find the minimum dimensions of the picture if each dimension is an integer. Alright, so let's break this apart. We have a rectangular picture. So it is always helpful when you have some sort of shape or something like that. You can draw yourself a picture to help you visualize what you are doing. Alright, it says here the width is 5 inches less than 3 times the length. And our objective is to find the minimum dimensions. So our unknowns, what we're trying to find are the dimensions. We're trying to find the length and the width. Alright, length and width. That is our two unknowns. The width is 5 inches less than 3 times the length. So the width is based off the length. So if I let my variable be the length, so x be length, the width can be determined from that. So the width is 5 inches less than 3 times. So if I take 3 times the length, so 3 times x, then the width is 5 inches less than that. So 3x minus 5. So the length is x, the width is 3x minus 5. Alright, so that'd be the same for the other sides as well, x, and then 3x minus 5. Alright, so we have our setup, we have our picture, now we can create our inequality. It says here the perimeter is at least 26 inches. So first of all, perimeter. Perimeter is the distance around, right? So the distance around we find by adding all these side lengths together. So if I do x plus x, that gives me 2x. Right, x plus x is 2x plus 3x minus 5 plus another 3x minus 5. And then we can combine like terms. So 2x plus 3x, that would be 8 x's. And then negative 5 minus 5 is negative 10. Alright, so that is the perimeter. And it says the perimeter is at least 26 inches. If it's at least 26 inches, that means it could be equal to 26 or bigger than 26. So my inequality is going to be greater than or equal to 26. Alright, and this is my setup. From here, I can solve by doing reverse order of operations. Alright, so I see subtraction and I see multiplication. I see minus 10 and 8 times x. So I begin with the subtraction first. So I get rid of subtraction by adding. So I can add 10 to both sides. That will cancel. I have 8x is greater than or equal to 26 plus 10 is 36. And then get rid of the 8 by dividing both sides by 8. I now have x is greater than or equal to 36 divided by 8. That would give me, what, 4 and 4/8, or 4 and 1/2. All right, so we have solved the inequality. We are pretty much done. We just need to just put everything together now. So we're finding the minimum dimensions of the picture if each dimension is an integer. So integer means a number without a fraction. So if x is bigger than or equal to 4.5, the next the next integer bigger than this would be 5, right? So the smallest integer, smallest number without a fraction that x could be is 5. So x is 5, that is the length. So then the width would be 3 times 5 minus 5. All right, so 3 times 5 is 15. 15 minus 5 is 10. So the width would be 10. So we have 5 and 10 as our dimensions. And by the way, notice the picture is not drawn properly, but we wouldn't have known that until we solved the problem, right? So that's okay. We do have the correct numbers. That's really all we care about. So we have the length is 5 and the width would be 10. So now we've seen 2 examples. Let's look at one more example. So example 3 says Jim's second test score was 8 points higher than his first score. His third score was 88. He had a B average between 80 and 89 for the 3 tests. What can you conclude about his first test score? All right, so what we have is we have 3 different tests. Okay, so test 1, test 2, and test 3. We're trying to find his first test score. So test 1 we do not know. We will let that be the letter X. Test 2 is going to be 8 points higher than his first score. So we get X plus 8 for his second test. His third score is given to us as an 88. And so from here, we have set up our different variables. And at this point, we can determine our inequality. All right, so for this one, we want to take into account that we are trying to have an average between 80 and 89. All right, so average, we find an average by taking the 3 test scores, so x plus 8 plus 88, and divide by the total number of tests, which is 3. All right, so this is average. So let's simplify this a little bit before we move on. X plus x on the top would be 2x, and then 8 plus 88 is 96. So I have 2x plus 96 over 3. This would be his average. And his average needs to be between 80 and 89. So between means greater than 80, and then also needs to be less than 89. So 2x plus 96 over 3 is less than 89. All right, so from here I need to solve both inequalities. And to do that, remember we do reverse order of operations. So this numerator, think of that as being in parentheses. All right, so parentheses we do last when working in reverse. And the division of the 3 we would do first. So let's take care of the 3 first by multiplying both sides by 3. That's going to be for both inequalities, all the same steps. Let's multiply this one by 3 as well. So when I do that, the 3's cancel. I have 2x plus 96 is greater than 80 times 3 is 240. And over here, the 3's cancel as well. We have 2x plus 96 is less than 89 times 3, which would be 27, carry the 2, be 267. All right, so from here we have 2 times x and then plus 96. Working in reverse, we can get rid of the 96 first, which is being added. We move it over by subtracting. We do that for both inequalities because it's the exact same steps. The 96's will cancel. I have 2x is greater than 240 minus 96. That's going to be 144. All right, and then the other one, 96 is cancel. I have 2x is less than 267 minus 96. We have 171. All right, and then lastly, divide both sides by 2. We have x is greater than 72. Over here, divide by 2 as well. So x is less than 171 over 2, which that would give me, what, 85 and a half, or 85.5. So my solution is that test 1, which is x, needs to be bigger than 72 or less than 85.5. So its test score is within that range, greater than 72% and less than 85.5%. And that concludes our lesson for today. We will see you next time.